Okay, let's lower that to a reasonable level. Hello, everybody. This is me, Francisco, here with my buddy Charles here for Sports Goofs number 191. I've labeled this title episode, Charles. Man, my words are not working today. Title this episode, Tropicana Feels.
That's cute.
Yeah. So we're starting off. You went to the Royal Rumble, so we will talk about wrestling to start out. Then there's some other stuff going on wrestling that we will cap the show on later on, and then we'll do some stuff in between, sprinkle some stuff in. NHL is going into their All-Star break soon enough, and NBA has some stuff. The NFC and AFC championships happened. And we can always just talk about gaming and other endeavors, food, maybe. I have no idea. I have a list. I think I have a list somewhere here. But yeah, that's all I've got. But how are you doing? What's up?
I am good. I am trying my hardest to contain my throat because I don't know if I sound just an octave off. But there's a lot of screaming and shouting.
Yes.
Coming into it. Now I'm like thinking I don't get laryngitis. I hope not. So the problem is, for anybody who doesn't know, whatever you have, kind of like, when your voice is hoarse or raspy, then everything for me drains, like the post-nasal drip. So I've had like a cough, but not because I'm sick, because I'm not sick, you guys. It's because of the fact that, I was screaming my head off like a child. And I'm a pretty good time anyway. I think I'm better today than I was Sunday. If you heard me Sunday, I should just audio recording for you guys, but I was like this, and everything hurt. So if you hear me cough, I'm not dying. It's not the Rona. It's nothing of that nature, you guys. It's just basically Charles was having a good old time, and I think there's only a few aspects where I would scream as loudly as I did. Besides that, it's good. I was able to get home early before the show, which means I took a bomb-ass nap one. That was noticed. I don't usually nap that much, but I think Francisco will tell you the life of a lawyer is when you have court and you're like me who has to go many places, you tend to wake up a little bit earlier than usual. I don't know if you've ever had that. Yeah. Like on a non-court day, you give yourself 30 minutes, 45 minutes more. On a court day, you have to prepare for traffic.
Yep.
You got to make sure that you're shaved, and I grow facial hair relatively quickly, on my lip at least. Can't get the Bob Beltran. So that was coming in, and I did tea today. I know, shocking, right? To kind of coat my throat, but I'm not gonna lie, a little bit of the bubbly is actually what made me able to talk right now. Surprisingly, right? But maybe it's because we're just thinning out some mucus here. But all in all, I can't complain. I'm alive. I'm kicking, feeling my age.
Well, we will be. Let's just get into this. So, the Royal Rumble. This is the first time that you've attended one of the big pay-per-view events, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was at Tropicana Field, home of the Tampa Bay Rays, and you went with your paralegal as well. So it was a duo, right? It was a duo for that day.
It was a tag team, baby, since we're wrestling affiliated.
Mm-hmm. So you guys left the day of, came back the day of as well, right? So
yes,
the whole day. But let's talk about the experience, because honestly, for the rest of this show, I already kind of went over the hockey stuff last week.
Mm-hmm.
NBA is at this point. The Heat are losing and losing and losing, so not really much excitement there. And I guess we'll talk about the NFC and AFC title games. It's the Super Bowl that I guess people didn't really want, but it's happening again.
I have no problem with it, but we'll comment on that.
I'm a little indifferent to it, to be honest, but regardless, we got the Chiefs versus the 49ers. We've seen it before. And aside from that, we'll fill it up with gaming and wrestling. So,
well, it can't be the year of Charles Redux without something propagating it to be the year of the Charles.
Yeah,
right?
Echoes happening again.
Echoes happening again. And, Alan Wake 2, complete that the luscious game. Sam Lake, follow us on the Twitter. Follow us on the Twitter, everybody. Charles the True, Dan Frijoles, FJOJR, Sports_Goofs, Panther Historian, Marlins Historian, and then anything that Andrew does out on the side of it. So that was starter of one. So let's get the backstory a little bit just so we can have fun with it, because I can kind of take the tide here. So this had been purchased October. I'm going to put Mario RPG, which is the background game that we're playing, on pause with my beautiful
that's the soundtrack for tonight.
7P. And it's perfect, right? We're good. It's an easy game to kind of grind out. Since there's no voice dialogue, I can multitask. I really can. You know, my neck's a little stiff from the headset, but, you know, no good deed goes unpunished. So remember the tale of this, guys. I have only been to 2 main WWE roster stuff. I've been to the WWE NXT when there were 4 Pearsons. It's a good old time. I think I'm going to get to AEW one day. I might ask my buddy JJ if she wants to go, because she's more of that leaning. She got into wrestling like last year. Her belief on it, she's not wrong, is that she thinks that wrestling is like erotic fan fiction. That's PG. And there's some truth to it, right? Because it's storytelling. Because wrestling is not fake, it's scripted, but it's also soap opera. And I'll get to some AEW stuff when they have it. You've sent me some things. I've thought about it, and at least I know I'll get match quality there. When it came to the main roster, I went to one live event with an ex of mine many years ago, and then I went to a SmackDown televised show with Tony when I was in North Carolina about 5 years ago. That was a good experience. I saw Vince McMahon made burn hell, and I've been saying that before the allegations came out, because I just hate Vince. I saw Shane McMahon, I saw Stephanie McMahon. Oh, yeah. Well, we're going to shift it. This is just about my experience of being a 34-year-old and also being in a alternate dimension with a 7-year-old self in a time loop, right? The loop is on fire. So I was like, all right, let's do this in October. It's one of the big 4 pay-per-views, PLEs as they now call it. And remember, the whole base of the Royal Rumble was that they have a 30-man and 30-women Rumble. Last person in winning, not last person entry, but last person who wins gets a title shot at WrestleMania for the respective championships and main roster stuff. So I was like, all right, let's do it. We got the floor seats. This is how we'll start it. I didn't go to the gym, right? We put all my back workouts on Thursday so we can do on Saturday. I went to go pick up my paralegal. I got him. It's like a 3-hour change drive to Tampa. My legs hate me for it. But we get there. I had the prepaid parking. Look, I'm going to tell everybody, if you're already spending a good amount of money, just get the prepaid parking so you can get there earlier and you can mingle around. It kind of was my kingdom when we got there. We parked because there's a whole bunch of nerds that love wrestling. A bunch of geeks. I'm wearing my Roman Reigns Level Above shirt, which I sent you. He's wearing the We the One shirt, the Bloodline that I got him a holiday ago or so back. And you're seeing everybody with different varieties. And we were just cracking jokes, having a few drinks, walking around, because the show started at 8, gates opened up 5:30, but I'm like going inside at 5:30. I don't want to buy merchandise. I want to kind of travel that strip a little bit, Tropicana, because the running joke we always have with Andrew in the chat is that Tropicana Field is basically a hive of tetanus shots and then, rampant drug use, right? Like, I'm afraid I'm going to get hepatitis from there. But it looked okay, and that's what I was trying to explain to Derek, because he's never been there for a baseball game. I'm like, yeah, it's going to look differently because there's going to be renovations inside to be more conducive for the wrestling. So we get there, we're looking around, walk around, people, met a lot of cool people. Oh, shit. Because I forgot there was a guy on a podcast who had a card that I gave us because I was commingling with nerds like that. I was telling about the cage, and there's one called TNT, which I think is Thursday Night Thunder or Tuesday Night Thunder. It's a podcast, and if he follows us, that we know. I'm sure the card's still in the back of my pocket, but it was easy to remember. So, we're talking to people, we're giving predictions, we're talking about stuff, we're commingling. I saw a lot of people with different shirts. I was just giving shout outs. And since we were wearing the Roman shirts and the Bloodline shirts, we were the bad guys. So we were just teasing little kids who had their LA Knight stuff. I'm like, acknowledge me. We the ones. We were just having a good time. Like, no one was really offensive into it. There was one thing I did find funny, because I'm part of that categorization, that a lot of people that were in the Roman gear, the getup, that were wearing either the Levels Above or the Life's Not Fair or God mode, and Roman has his red glove and his red sneaks, was a lot of Hispanic men, myself included, even though I don't look of the color, right? So I was just joking with Derek, being like, I hope our people do realize that Samoans are like not equivalent to us. Really, I just joke with them. I'm saying they're island Native Americans. You know what I mean? Like, maybe the hair conjecture is a little bit fine, but we ain't there.
Well, you blow up some Latinos, they start looking Samoan. So
Well, that's the thing. Like, is it if you have a few Coronas in the background and you see Joe and I, aka Roman Reigns and the Usos, you go to and be like, "Is that my Latin dude right there?" And I can never claim it because I'm off the white set. So I get stuck when I throw people off of it. I'm like, yeah, Colombian, Argentina. What can I say? But it was interesting stuff. There was one person, I think I sent you guys a picture in a full Fiend costume, Bray Wyatt style.
saw that.
More props to that person, because ain't no way in hell I'm doing that, because it was hot. And I was wearing shorts and my brand new Brooks Brothers sneakers, which I think have done good, right? Coming into it, because your boy got resized a little bit for his shoes if you knew he was going to walk around. So we bumped around. I got free C4 energy drink because the vendors were there. And I was just commingling with my cool TNT people. Please, if it's not Thursday Night Thunder or Tuesday Night Thunder wrestling groups, I'm sorry, not on the card, but I'll give you guys a shout out. We'll find you at some capacity. I think they asked it for on Twitch, so I showed them us in sport, and they screenshotted it.
I'm gonna look.
If they even remember us, right?
I'll try and try and look, but yeah, go ahead.
How you serve your pants.
So
it
was just basically like one giant party outside of the parking lot of Tropicana Field.
I wouldn't even say it was a party. It was just Comic-Con with better alcohol, because that's what I think Comic-Con is. Like, for all the people, and look, I've been to cons, not a lot of them. I have a lot of friends who do it. I think it is sometimes kind of excessive of how people dress up. And then here I am, understanding, being one of the groups, right? I'm paying an exorbitant amount of money that could probably do better for my future instead of going to see scripted entertainment in a shirt that I paid expedited shipping for because it was brand new and I wanted it before the Rumble, right? Representing gear and haggling children. And some people had those title belts, and I was joking with those people about the titles I had, and they're like, yeah. And I was like, I didn't bring mine because they're too heavy, and I'm not going to walk around with it for multiple hours just to show off that I have them. I just have them in the office having fun. And they're like, yeah, you're making a lot of sense there. I will say this, if I can crack jokes for a second, and this is a joke, so I'm going to disclaim it. A lot of Southern folk at the Trop, watching wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to get that from trickling in from Georgia and Alabama and North Florida.
Yeah. And I'm just saying, like, I've always said wrestling is a carny sport, and you've heard me say it, and there's some connotations of who goes to the carny. But it was good vibe and good timing that I was having with it. Met some people that were coming out of state, man. Met some people from Philly, Jersey, New York. And I love the fact that I knew they were from New York because they're Hispanics lined up with the perfect facial hair with a New York Yankee cap, not a Met cap. Then, you met some people that I got some people that follow us on the Twitter. I don't know if they followed us, but I was just talking to them, and their names don't escape me, but we were doing predictions. One girl, one guy, and we were just BSing a little bit into it. So they followed me, I followed back. And you know me, I don't like to branch out too much on social media because I don't post or anything. I'm trying a little bit if you've seen it and follow it, but it's more like commentary. And I felt like I try to engage it a little bit for whatever sponsorship, because I actually got to something real in a big event. But we had a good time. The fact that I got a free C4 energy drink, especially when I needed one, when I'm like 3 drinks in on a pineapple vodka, because you got to get hydrated, kids, got to get those electrolytes. It's me, because you and I joked about it many, many moons ago, how there's like some Trujillo look that's out there that some things just happen. I get free stuff, or like how I got a free bag from Macy's with my mistake and all this
wings
stuff.
Last week.
Free wings, right? And without having to like touch anybody, which made me happier, right? Because God knows some people are pigs. But the ability to get that was like, hell yeah. And it tasted pretty good. It was a WWE edition, and I should have kept it, but I had to drink it. I sent you guys a picture of it. And I know like you and Andrew are probably like, again? Otra vez? Like, how is it always him? And I don't know, man. It was just a good time. So we're walking around, and the place I sent you, so I wanted to try out engine number 9, which was just Burger Fest. It was an hour and 10-minute wait, Francisco. We were there like 5:30 trying to get food, because I had to drive back. So I cut myself off. We were not going to do Carolina Panthers, Charles, Ultra Instinct Goku here. Then because I really had to enjoy it. You know what I mean? There's sometimes we're set in, right? So I'm like, oh God. But we went to go get tacos, and that's where I met those 2 cool people who, if I followed my own Twitter stuff, I would be able to give them shout outs. But life will happen. So that was an interesting time, because you can never go wrong with tacos. We go in, we're into the Trop, and I think I sent to you guys not all the videos, but my videos upon entry. Because the problem is it was a dome, so I don't know what got sent. You know what I
Right.
mean? But we were floor level
Yeah, I don't.
4A.
I don't remember the Trop's
Yeah,
Wi-Fi access or anything like that, or
it wasn't
signal.
bueno, and I'm just trying to blow up everybody to show how awesome I am being there.
I'm
But
trying to see if I can display the photos. But you keep on talking.
I mean, do you want me to send you some current ones now and just blow it up
No,
for the
I'm just
most
gonna
recent?
look back at our group chat and just
Yeah.
go into the media and just start looking. So we'll go from there.
Okay, so
But
like
yeah,
I remember I thought I sent you pictures of them coming in. So I won't say it was like how I felt when I went from the Lincoln Memorial, feeling small, but it was good. It was festive. It was colorized. It was great. Our seats were fine because it's the floor. And guys,
mm,
I'm 5'7" on a good day. You got to really be 10 feet to see above, truthfully. And there's a consequence because if you watch it on Peacock, you're getting the production value of it. If you're watching it from higher up, whether it be, row 100, 200, 300, you're going to be kind of slanted a little bit. And if your eyes are not great, you're not going to be see all the in-ring performers. You might have to rely on the Titantron or the big LCD screen. If you're on the floor seat,
right.
you might be cut off. Oh, wait. Yeah, that was my levels above that you see me as I'm
Okay.
ready
Yeah, yeah. That not exactly what I'm trying to do right now, but you keep
with my
talking.
Royal Rumble socks.
I gotta edit
Because
this
my
a little bit.
coworker Amy got it. So like there you go, people. I was that cocky and ready. I wasn't trying to send them thirst traps to the sports chat, even though Francisco and I do have a very positive, healthy image that we motivate each other
Mm,
to work out. But no, we're not thirst trapping each other, kids. Sorry. You try, but sorry. So
stick that in the middle there.
it makes it work. But there we go with the socks.
All right,
With
all
the
right. So
socks.
I'm gonna work this while you talk. So yeah, the socks. You're showing off the socks over here. There's your buddy
There you
wearing with the We the Ones. And where the hell did this let's go? Everybody's looking at the group chat, which is not for public consumption.
go. Just loving the group chat as we're just
Yeah,
making the running jokes going from there. Even though we
yeah.
got Andrew going to be refraining
There
him
you
from the
guys
back
go,
end.
walking around
Yeah,
St. Petersburg, Florida.
yeah. We'll pause on that so we go for the photos.
Did you guys wear matching socks?
Yeah, because our coworker and the other attorney got us both there, so that's why we wore the shorts so people could see it. My folks are like, well, why aren't you wearing jeans? I'm like, first off, it's gonna be hot, and then two, how are the people gonna see my socks, man?
Mm, mm-hmm.
Um, so going on the floor section was an
Let's
interesting
see.
endeavor because, mind you, this is people go on a top rope and there's four corners, so there's four productions. I forgot what we're saying. So outside the trop,
Yeah,
which just
our
looks
kingdom
like
here.
our kingdom.
Guys
And
walking.
there you go. So you get it from that, and that was just on back end. They had a whole big section,
Yeah, that's
but
like the little like they got like a small little strip of like restaurants and stuff,
yeah,
kind of near
yeah,
the trop.
yeah, and it was just one of those things where I was having such a good old time pre-eventing, not pre-gaming, but pre-eventing, just walking around talking to
Mm.
people because I mean you kind of get that in sporting
There's the
events
full
too.
Bray Wyatt
Yeah, kudos
costume
to that
there.
guy
Yeah,
with the title belt and everything. And look, Bray died last year, and that's a very emotional setting. So you see somebody who's going to tribute it. I mean, I just have a Bray shirt, so that's as far as I can go. But good for them. Plus, also, I couldn't get that hair nor that build. I am a tiny man. I am a very tiny man coming into it. Let's see. I'm just looking because there's always a delay.
I'm like, oh,
So
there's the C4.
the C4 energy drink, then now forever together, and I'm like, I should got that. Like, you must have been like, this son of a bitch. 5. You're like, of course he gets something for you. But he always gets something. Like, remember, because you guys have been part of the Trujillo luck or the Trujillo luck when we went to the Panthers and we got put onto the ice.
Yeah, we got free tickets to the Marlins and a bunch of swag.
Yeah. I'm telling you, I have that build about me. It's because it's walking chaos, but chaos can be a good thing sometimes if you hang with your boy long enough.
Mr. Door. And there you guys walking into the trop on the floor.
Which that's what I talk about, feeling like you're on the Lincoln Memorial. You're right. You're just seeing something grand and big. And there was a lot of things that my friend and I were saying that we're like, oh boy, coming into it. Because Derek and I were having some choice words saying the elite of the elite.
Mm-hmm.
But you're going to get close to where the seating kind of is soon. So you're there. And thankfully, there wasn't really anybody in front of us. I think a family came a little bit later, and it's a bunch of tiny children. So I'm like, I have no problem with this. And I'm seeing the reflection of age onto it. So I'm like, all right, this is working. So the sounds of it, if you watch Peacock and you see the matches, you're hearing commentary. there is no commentary that's being displayed throughout the arena. You're literally hearing the bumps on the mat and the slaps, and then you're just hearing like the crowd and everything, and maybe some words from the wrestlers to another without calling spots, pretty much. So it's a very kind of intimate setting that is more in it than out of it. And my seating, I liked it because of what it was. If I ever did it again, I don't think I would get floor seats unless I'm closest, because there's things I couldn't see. Like I didn't see certain people getting eliminated in certain directions because it's a 4-sided ring. They're gonna be sent out different things. And the non-Rumble matches like Owens and Paul, and then the Fatal 4-Way with Roman, LA Knight, AJ Styles, and Randy Orton. If they're outside fighting, you're not going to see unless you go on the Titantron. And as much as I can look at the screen, I also want to look at it in presence. And I thought we had good things. Phones are never going to justify how far you can see something, right? But it was definitely a good experience to see some people live. There's some wrestlers I never saw live. I never saw Roman live. So that's great. Logan Paul, I think he's been doing pretty good. People don't like him for obvious reasons, but as a wrestler, I've never seen him. Never seen LA Knight. I think I've seen Randy, if memory serves me correctly. I never saw Gunther, and I love him. That's my dog right there. James Bond villainy all up in this. It was a good kind of collection to see those people. And there wasn't, and I'm going to do my review of the Rumble with this as well, and the cage will be a little bit lighter because of it. But it was a good setting because the Rumble matches, though predictable, were entertaining. Why? Because the crowd was in it and was invested. There's some people who were watching Peacock and they're like, oh, this crowd's dead. I'm like, I don't know, man. I was there and we were shouting. I think the energy was there. Like the women's Rumble match.
Yeah, and the microphones, I mean, just whoever's producing it has to match the sounds and everything like that. I mean, sometimes you can't capture the sound of crowds. Sometimes if they don't do it right.
Yeah, and
I mean, you're inside of a dome, so it should still be loud anyway. So
correct. And I will rewatch the pay-per-view to see the product instead of the live moment, right? So that's the interesting perspective. But the women's Rumble was very good. Naomi returned. They had a couple of women there. They had Jordan Grace, who's the TNA Impact, or I guess they're changing from Impact back to TNA, the TNA Knockouts champion there. So they had a co-signing to bring her in for that match. Bayley won it as we predicted. I'll have to revisit to rewatch it because I know who she eliminated last, but Jade Cargill had appeared. So Jade Cargill from AEW had showed up in her first match there, and her and Bianca had a good standoff that had some good energy. The crowd was hyped for it. So overall, I liked it. I liked all the matches. I liked the pay-per-view. That's how I'm going to start this because now I'm just going to give you some dissection of things. The Fatal 4-Way match where Roman, who I'm repping his shirt, there was a lot of Hulk Hogan was there.
Yeah.
Because he lives close. So I was taking some photos of him, showing it to my dad. Because, Dory Funk Jr. was there, also Jimmy Hart, the Man from the South. They're displaying WrestleMania. And of course, here's the Andrew. Your American League champions, Daily champions. He didn't even comment on that. He commented on like, oh, hey, there's a Royal Rumble Tampa Bay Rays jersey, but not about that. And you would think that he was like, yeah, Pat McAfee was there, so hey, I got to see Pat McAfee. Mind you, I don't really care for ESPN Pat McAfee, but love him in wrestling because he's such a bro. Yeah, he's such a bro. And apparently he was in the match and he didn't know that he was. They just announced it because whether or not that's true, I couldn't tell you. Pat's a good salesman to sell you on suspense and belief coming from it. The Fatal 4-Way with Roman, LA Knight, Randy, and AJ was pretty good in my opinion. I want to rewatch that again. My paralegal was like, well, it was quick. I'm like, well, Fatal 4-Ways are supposed to be sprints. They're not supposed to be this 30. Look how big it is, man, right? It's not supposed to be this 30-minute race. It's going to be 15 minutes, and Roman ended up winning that. He pinned AJ, as I predicted. Not the Fatal 4-Way, the Logan Paul KO match. Because my complaint with this, as I told you last week, was that I felt like it was a short pay-per-view, going to be stacked up because there was only 4 matches. Boy, howdy, was I wrong, because the totality of everything was about 4.5 hours. The Paul Owens match was pretty good in my opinion, ended very smartly because Paul had his buddy give him brass knucks that he was going to use, and then Owens took it off him and hit him with the brass knucks and almost had the pin. And then before the 3 count, the referee, which is great because Vince always portrayed refs as being idiots, saw the brass knucks on Owens as he was pinning him and disqualified him. I think that's smart. I think it builds a feud. Unfortunately, he has a fracture on his foot, so you're not going to see it. Yeah, I think that's the Fatal 4-Way or one of the
30 women Royal Rumble.
Yeah, that's the Royal Rumble. That's what started. So, the phone doesn't make it seem like it's close, but you're pretty close. You see it visibly. You see the people. But that's what I would make reference to on looking on the screen and the production that they have. And then you had the men's Royal Rumble, And I gotta tell you, man, you asked me why I picked the floor instead of sitting up to get more visible. It's because the crowd was electric for certain things. So Jey Uso came out first in the Rumble. He was number one, and he has his thing where he does the wave when he gets on the top rope and he's just moving his arms, going up and down for the crowd. And we were all doing it, man. We were all doing it. My ass was shit. Six was waving his arms because I like Jey Uso. I like Jimmy Uso. And there's Cody. We're going to talk about that in a second. Because he won. Yeah. I was predicting the double pin out or throw out, but things happened. But they started with Jay and Jimmy in the Rumble match. So I was like, okay, we're building some story. Grayson Waller came out, got kicked in the mouth. But when Cody came out at like 15, everybody was singing his song. I didn't, of course. I don't hate Cody. I hate his booking. Understand that. And the end of this match did not make me love his booking, but I get it because you go with the best stories sometimes. When CM Punk came out, I'm not going to lie, I sang Cult of Personality. For a guy, I think in the year plus that you've been seeing me track him a little bit, talked a lot of smack, but, you know, I never thought I would see CM Punk in the ring unless it was an AEW. And, of course, he was terminated. So getting him there was very intense. Gunther, just hearing him was great. And those chops are pretty loud, damn it. I'll tell you that now. Dominic Mysterio was out. R-Truth came in to help Dominic Mysterio, so I think that was a pop. That was hysterical. There was no legends, like nobody from back in the day. And here I was hyping ourselves up in the car, being like, oh, you know, The Rock's going to show up. Maybe The Undertaker shows up. Maybe Steve, who knows? It's gonna be oh, my God. And none of it. But you know what? I think that's a good sign because that means it wasn't necessary. It wasn't needed. As I'm hyped up on C4 tacos and, of course, an entire bag of Nerds gummy clusters because that was my snack driving up in 3.5 hours. And then the final two were Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. You know, Gunther and Drew McIntyre were the other two who got eliminated prior to that. They did the work, man. Drew and Gunther have been really putting up some stellar stuff the last couple of months, and them being the final four or final five was definitely something interesting. And then Cody and Punk were going back and forth, and then Punk was going for the GTS. Cody got him and threw him out. And then Cody wins back-to-back Royal Rumbles. It hasn't been done since Austin did it back in, 98, 99? So I was dead quiet when he won. And my paralegal just singing Cody's song because the whole time for the last 3 months, I can't wait to sing to you, Charles, because everybody sings Cody's Whoa. And I like Cody. I'm going to preface that again. I think he did a lot of stuff to revolutionize. I just like booking. Which people say, hey, Charles, what do you mean you don't like booking? I'm like, let me explain this to you in ways I can. You ever watch a movie or a TV show? TV show is better. You go through multiple seasons and all of a sudden they just do something that you feel like's out of character, could have been done better to get them to think, aka Dexter from Showtime's Dexter. And you get some weird stuff. That's how I felt about it. But he wins and I was quiet. And, you know, he texted me yesterday. He's like, I've known you for like 5 years. I don't think I've ever seen you that quiet before because I don't shut up.
Well, I remember this clip especially because he's like, I have to apologize. Like, yes, you do. Yes, you do. And then some guy was like, no, he doesn't. Yes, he does.
Yeah, that was Derek. You know, we're just bantering back and forth. And my whole thing is that I eventually did go the whoa in his theme song just to get into it because I did say last week Cody was winning. But I had it being a double like ring out to where both Punk and Cody were winning. So it was a good magical experience. I loved it for that nature. I never regretted being there. There's some sporting events I'll go to.
A reaction gif when that happened.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's so appropriate because that's how I felt. I'm like, Cody's finishing that story, kids. He's gonna get Roman. Even though right now in Raw they're being like, oh, Seth wants Cody because Punk got hurt. He tore his triceps, he's out. Remember, Seth also tore his MCL, so it's debatable if he's getting to Mania. They're trying to. They're going to heal him up. So the injury bug several. We got closer to take that shot. So that goes to show like how clean it looked in that mat. And then we waited like 45 minutes until traffic left, and then we bailed out. There's us just being happy. I'm dead ass tired. Seth in the background or up in the 208s. And that's the thing, man. If I'm that high up, like you're watching from the press box, you're not going to see anything really on the field. So you have to go and rely on a TV screen. So that's why, man, I would never want to do that because I could just watch it at home for $5, right? On Peacock. So it was there to be there for the injury, and I was just screaming, man. I was just going woo all the time, just being hyped up. Punk, and I love that shot that I got of Punk looking at Dominic because one of the running jokes is that Punk always wanted to hit Dominic from many years ago, and I sent that to a couple of friends as well. It was an interesting experience, and I made the joke of when we first bought it that I was born in August of such and such. or conceived and birth, but this was the day I was truly conceived when I get to the Royal Rumble, right? And I think it still holds true. It was a moment of surrealness that, 7-year-old Charles, who bought these Stone Cold and Undertaker action figures, dolls, whatever you want to call it, for his birthday when he turned 8 or 9, really mirrored that, because I don't think you ever imagined to be there. And you've been to like NHL finals, you've been to NBA finals.
Mm-hmm.
You never thought you'd get there as a kid, right? And I think it was a big moment for me upon self-reflection. I know I did a little bit of the show. I didn't feel this way at the Rumble. I was just hyped up and excited and everything like that. Andrade returned, as you see in the background, but he left AEW as well. He was an OG NXT and then went to AEW, vice versa, the main roster, all this stuff. You're just giving the shout-outs. And Owen's a good shot of him. Just sitting there thinking on it. Well, like I remember when I had to beg my parents to give me $50 for a pay-per-view and they say no. I would remember trying to use the channel tuner on basic bunny ear television to get the static channels. That's how I watched WrestleMania 14 with Austin versus Shawn, right? Like you never fathom that. And I really think that we need to sometimes make goals of what we want to do with our careers and what we want to do with our money to get there. Because here I was, I want to be a lawyer. I want to do good. I want to do that. And what did I do with lawyer money? Bought a car, right? Pay my student loans. I'm never going to pay that off. Kids, just pay the minimum, right? Government's not going to take yourself. Private loans, I can tell you. I got Ramona on like a discount, but it never came to me to say, I got to go to a main 4 pay-per-view. Seriously. I was like, wow, that was cool. And I felt that minorly when you saw me taking that video recording of the setup. When I got in my seat, I was back to regular chairs, but there was a moment you saw Roman. He looked fantastic, and every Hispanic man's claiming him. I'm like, no, you can't do that. But it was definitely an experience. It was a wonder, really. It was a wonder. It was great, and I wasn't disappointed. And this was also the first pay-per-view with no Vince McMahon input at all, because the events that happened Friday is that Vince is gone. Guys, he's like really gone. Snap into a Slim Jim. I should have bought a Slim Jim at the gas station because they pulled. And Slim Jim, you might think that no one buys that $2 jerky stick. Apparently, a lot of people do, right? Same thing with C4 and all this stuff. Yeah, you might hear me. I don't know if you hear me singing in the background for it. As this is like going on hour 3.5, but I'm just going for it. It was just cool, man. It was great. It was an experience. Wrestling is imperfect. But isn't that what it's all about? It's like what we do, sports, when we feel the emotion. And you know what? I'd rather have wasted the money I had going in there than like going to a World Series or going to a playoff game and feeling disappointment. Because more power to anybody who went to the AFC Championship game or the NFC Championship game this weekend and your team lost, blew a 17-point lead, and also just never had a chance and thought they had to present MVP. I would be miserable. You know what I mean? Here, I'm not going to be miserable. That's what's beautiful about wrestling. One match can save a stinker pay-per-view. That's the thing. It was an enjoyable experience, and I'm grateful for it. Would I need to go back to any of the events? No, I think I would start small time. I think I'd just go back to NXT Fort Pierce for the $10 and just to stand there and see what the new talent's going to be. But this is going to be something that I don't think is ever trumped, because it's I don't think you beat it from going to a World Series and see your team, because your team has to win, right? You've been there. Your team has to win. Because how did it feel when you went to Game 3 of the Panthers last year? Because that's when you went, right?
Yeah, and that was the one game they won. So
yeah, it was great. And then they lose out in the series, and you reflect back. I went to a game series where they got a gentleman's sweep. I would hate that, but that itself was fantastic, and it was be around my people, man. My people, because all the other live stuff I've been to, I just get there an hour ahead of time. So you just met a lot of generally cool people, and any kind of sport entertainment, wrestling, whatever you want to call it, because we have so many names for it. But if it could bring people together without heavy toxicity, which is very rare, because if you go onto the internet and the IWC, the Internet Wrestling Community, there's just a bunch of assholes. 7. Yeah. They really are, because they just hate everything and they don't know how to appreciate. Whereas
they're never happy with anything that goes on. They're always complaining.
And you never should be in this life, right? But the thing is, you have to accept that the world does what it wants to do without your input or not. But this was an excellent experience in my life. My leg hurt because I was walking around. I was stuck in the car for a total of 7 hours. I've been having to wear my brace. I did not get home until 5:30. I did not sleep that well. I only got 2.5 hours of sleep. So Monday, I said I got some PTO. I slept in Monday. I caught up on my sleep yesterday. We're going to ease up on some working outs. And yeah, but it was pretty great, man.
Okay. I mean, it's pretty cool to be able to go to one of these events and just take it all in, take in the experience. You went with your own money. You paid for, like, we don't have, like, luckily, I mean, I feel like luckily I don't have any of, like, the dangerous vices,
Yeah.
that
Hard Rock Bets, though, sign us up. We'll shill.
Yeah, I don't mind shilling dangerous vices to other people. Sure, man. Sheesh. Once we get, legal cocaine, I'll shill that too. So, but regardless, it's still a cool thing to be able to, like, sit down and have this sort of thing. I mean, it's, you get one of these experiences that's like, yeah, this is, I mean, maybe not. Might be once in a lifetime, possibly. I mean, you could always go some other time. Maybe one day. We've had a WrestleMania that's likely a chance that they could do the same event in Miami.
Right.
The same thing with Royal
Well,
Rumble,
remember,
whatever.
we were gonna go. The plan for before COVID happened almost 4 years ago was that they were gonna have Mania in Tampa,
Right.
at the Raymond James Stadium. And then the thing that we were planning to do, and I was more obsessed with it, was to do NXT TakeOver, which is NXT's pay-per-view. Remember, it's the minor league, B league of WWE.
Mm-hmm.
Then do the WrestleMania, and do the Raw after. And we would have done the nosebleeds for TakeOver and for Raw, because Raw at the Mania is always supposed to be good. And then we would have been pretty big in Raw. And I was going to do it because, tunnel vision is a dangerous thing. It's called being myopic. And I'm glad we didn't, because that means I would have given Vince McMahon a lot of my money to sit in.
Yeah.
Now there is no Vince McMahon. I was more than happy to give Nick Khan, Ari Emanuel, and Paul Levesque my cash. So it is something. But I do implore people is that you can talk about experiences, and some people want to travel. I want to travel this, I want to travel that. But if you just like going to concerts, go to a concert, right?
Right.
You keep it simple going from there, and as long as you're okay with it. I do understand people who went to other sections. If it wasn't the Royal Rumble, I would have just gone on the nosebleeds, or not the nosebleeds, but I would have gone there. But because of what that spectacle was, and it's so weird that I'm going to rewatch it again. I'm going to sit the folks down because they didn't watch it. Unfortunately, what you learn about parents, kids, and what I'll tell you is just be patient with grandma and grandpa, and then be patient with parents, the uncles, because you think they know how to utilize something. They didn't realize, because I have a WebOS TV for them in the living room, is that they didn't realize that Peacock, it wasn't saved as an app, but we had it. All they had to do is just search it.
Yeah.
I was in this TV or that TV. I'm like, guys, we had it. But that just means bonding time, because I want to rewatch it anyway to really see the production value of it. Because imagine if it just, you watch it and then you're just like, oh, hey, this was pretty neat. I didn't see this, I didn't see that, and you reflect into it. It's like,
True.
it's really like it's like rereading a good book.
True.
And then, of course,
I've until I started this whole Marlins history thing, I never saw Game 4 of the 2003 Division Series between the Marlins and Giants, because I went with my dad.
Yeah.
So I never saw the broadcast. I didn't know what it was like. I knew what the momentous play was when Pudge did that block, but I never saw the game itself. And I actually took the time to sit down and be like, let me actually see how this was and how people saw it, because I was just up in the upper deck with everybody else. So it is interesting to see it from a different perspective.
And it's something that we've talked about before on the show, is that I can't really rewatch any sports stuff. I can rewatch, and I'm not the historian. I don't. Francisco will tell you, I am more of a shoot from the hip kind of guy. I don't have the attention span for a lot of things. I wish I could. I really do. But I have been able to rewatch 3 things: wrestling, boxing, and to a very small degree, UFC fights. But you just know I don't like UFC fights because I don't think it's actually an intellectual sport. And you guys can debate me on that any day of the week, please. But, those combat sports, even if I know the prediction, I know the ending, I feel like there's always something I'm like seeing that's new. And as you get older and progress, and you see a person's style, because you are following an individual. I can't watch a Super Bowl, multiple times. I don't even give a crap about. I like kind of like doing the highlights. I did subscribe to a Twitter user who hasn't posted as much, which is disappointing. Like I gave you my follow, and you don't post as much, saying that it's not like Yankee historian, but it's one of those things of like reliving nostalgic events. Like they'll have like
Right.
local, whether it be from
Yeah,
playoffs.
yeah.
And I think that helps me remember, because you guys got to remember the golden age of Yankee years. I was like 7, man, and the things I remember at 7 is more the embarrassing stuff, like pitching a tent in class by accident versus like
Okay.
Paul O'Neill and stuff. Hey, we were all there, man. You're 10 years old and you get a little chill, and then you have to be like, teacher, I need a minute, please. Yeah, a little too much intimate moments right here for you kids.
Okay. Oh man.
But yeah, just like guys go from there. But it was good. It was good, and I was very proud of myself for not screaming and shouting to embarrass myself or fighting anybody.
Mm.
Whereas I've been in, no one fought anybody at the WWE. Whereas Miami, Bills and Dolphins have a match. If someone gets shot,
Yeah, someone got shot.
Do better.
Yeah.
Do better, guys.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Dodgers and Giants at the parking lot, whatever. Yeah.
Padre fan, known to mankind.
Yeah, and then so cool. Very happy for you that you got that experience. Really, that's the big kickoff to the year of the Charles.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah. It was the Drake meme because for you guys who don't know the chats, I bombarded Francisco and Andrew with the Drake meme of him shouting and screaming all the time.
Yeah,
and I would say that was relatively accurate.
Yeah,
because I was shouting and screaming. I want to scream and shout and let it all out. It's what I am, and Britney Spears said, and it was great, man.
The cool thing about I just noticed that I was able to share my screen and everything like that. It was the cool thing about beefing up the PC is that everything's running very smoothly right now for the show.
Yeah, I mean, with all that RAM that you added in,
yeah,
it's
exactly.
Video easier, and it's not gonna. That would have been my concern, is that it would have compressed, if you're gonna use anything for marketing, would compress like the videos, the photo quality. Because remember, this was all taken on my iPhone that's new 6 years later.
Yeah.
With my Pro Max,
it looked pretty good.
So, that right? And I was like, all right,
pretty good.
I know there's going to be a couple people, like my brother-in-law's dad, who's a big wrestling fan. I'm going to have to show him all that when I see him and talk about it, because he was just so happy no one wanted to watch it with him. Like, my parents were going to do it out of obligation, but they wanted to be home, which is understandable, right?
Yeah.
It's a Saturday. And God bless, Hunter, hear me out, baby. God bless you for putting these things on Saturdays, man. Because if it was Sunday, I don't know how I could
be dead.
As an adult, with clients, like, I need to. Some people miss the Super Bowl because they want to get drunk and have a hangover. Not me. I'm like, the Super Bowl is pretty tame. I just want chicken wings a lot. Like when Friday, when I went to Castaways, I showed you that sticky chicken. Wasn't that delicious?
Indeed.
But the point being is that God bless you for putting on Saturdays, because they used to have a long time of just doing it like that, and your boy cannot hang, man. Just hear me out. So good times. I was dead tired, and a lot of my friends thought I was crazy for coming back in one day to do it. I'm like, no, that's just me, though. You know me. I'm like, I just get it done.
Yeah, and I don't know how
the prices were jacked up in those hotels.
Yeah, and we've been to Tampa for like the Florida bar. I mean, Tampa's not that interesting of a city, so just to stay there one extra night, nah.
When I go back, I have a statewide training in April. I'm going to see how far from engine number 9 it is, because I can drive my way out. Because remember last year I went to go get the Colombian food.
Yeah.
So I'm a man. When I actually have motivation, guys, I'm not as lazy. I just we'll get there. But I might go back, because I had you and the others vote, and some people at work. I was like, yo, tell me what this looks like, because I wanted to try some things. Damn it. But it's okay. The tacos were delicious.
So let's see. I'm gonna go down this list. Oh, all right. Well, let's talk about this. So Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is the cover for MLB 24, the show.
Yep.
A lot of people thought it would be Ronald Acuna Jr. It wasn't.
Really? I thought it would have been Corbin Carroll. Okay.
It was. Yeah, I could have seen Corbin as like the hot new shot with Arizona, and I thought it would be Acuna, because everyone was like raving about him last year. He won an MVP.
Well, everybody knows that was a fraudulent NL MVP, even Sony.
Well, yeah, because the stolen bases were with all the new rules, and so they were pretty like jacked up numbers, just because they can't throw over more than 3 times, and the bases are pizza boxes now. and also didn't come to play at all in the playoffs. Was pretty awful. So
At all.
there you go. And well, Vlad Jr. He had an okay season last year.
Man,
not even his best season
of
his career.
Chat.
Like let's I'm gonna break this down because even I had to like double check because I remember last year people were like complaining that he was struggling, he wasn't doing well, and you know.
And we're going to tell you guys right now, the stats are good for an all-star. I remember off the top of my head because I sent to you 26, and I don't know, I have like one show game, that's it, but 26 homers, 94 RBIs, like 2.68 or a .268 batting average.
So yeah, 264 batting average. He made the all-star team, and you know, it's still not his career highs. His career highs were in 2021. Maybe he'll have a bounce back season this year. I'm not sure. He had 26 home runs. His home run numbers are going down year by year, and he's playing still around the same amount of games anyways.
I just find it odd.
He's the son of a Hall of Famer. He's Dominican and Canadian, so there's the international conspiracy Charles has been pushing with MLB lately.
Yep. You've been pushing on the NBA. I got the MLB.
Yeah. So
can you explain to me? No, I'm not trying to interrupt. I guess you have this train of thought that I want to leave on. Explain this to me for a second. Why you consider him, who wasn't on even the American League MVP list, a finalist? So why are we going somebody that you're the peers in the community? Which I think with Marcus Semien, and then I think Corey Seager was the other one. You know, it's fair options of why you would pick Vladdy over them because they're not face of the franchises, even though they're champions, though. So you're not putting anybody. I'm pausing Mario. Good game so far. We're going to talk about that because it's a gaming episode. But you're not putting anybody who's in at least the triple or contention of the AL MVP of the past year. You're not putting anybody who went to and won the World Series, or at least to the competitive second, the runner-up, essentially. So that's why I was thinking Corbin Carroll, because it made sense it was going to be Carroll. Yeah. Me, who doesn't know the Diamondbacks, said, okay, I got to know this kid. And you'll never put the Cy Young people, which I'm saying it right now, and I want them to steal it from me for next year. You should do, MLB The Show people, Sony, you should do both the pitcher and a hitter. There's parity all across. So do a split cover the way Madden did with Troy Polamalu and Drew Brees?
Larry Fitzgerald.
Oh, Drew Brees had his own. But yeah, Troy Polamalu and Larry Fitzgerald. Why not? It makes sense, right? We rely so much on pitching. They're actually the most inflated money that's out there. But you're going to go with Vladdy because he's a face of the franchise. Is that because Shohei left? Because you're ready to Judge. Okay. Then you get Vladdy. All right. Texas doesn't really have anybody, but doesn't stop you from having, because Seager's on a long-term contract. So Corey Seager would make sense to me. I wouldn't hate it. It would make it's better than Marcus Semien, right? And then you don't want to do anybody from Baltimore. That's the new up-and-comers, and they look pretty good.
True. You kind of Rushman. As a catcher, right?
If you want to face the franchise, because you want to be, because when they put in Judge, he was about like 27 on his thing, so you're getting into the prime, and then like I hate to say it, but Houston shouldn't have a guy like you know how I feel about the Astros, but as a game. But then you're going with Vladdy, who the biggest claim to fame, aside from, and mind you, those stats are good enough to carry, but Gleyber Torres had almost the same stats. I think I sent you the Baseball Reference comparison, so suck it. But you pick the team that got bounced in the first round. That's what's so weird to me, right? We're not asking you to put Wander Franco on this, but I mean, if I had
a team that everybody thought was the next big thing, and it ends up being Baltimore, being Baltimore now. Yeah, they surpassed them in like a year, immediately doing more than what the Blue Jays have done in the last 3.
And then if you were to consider them, I don't understand. Like, you didn't have to just keep it to the American League. Has Freddie Freeman ever been on the cover? Because I feel like if there's a person, and you can see it now, right? A Freddie Freeman split jersey.
True.
I was runner-up MVP for it. I think he actually should have been Urmuki.
So these are the cover athletes since they started the show thing.
Right.
This is once again, this is an old PlayStation franchise. This goes back to like MLB Pennant
PS3
Race,
maybe.
PS1 with PS1. Like the original OG series. of MLB games. And then
And does it matter, kids? No, but I didn't kind of buy Madden because Josh Allen was on this year's cover. I'm just saying.
So the first was like, okay, MLB 98 had like Bernie Williams and Cal Ripken Jr., Mo Vaughn, Chipper Jones, Andrew Jones, Barry Bonds, Sean Green. Yeah, he had like a couple good seasons. Eric Chavez for the A's. That's
a callback.
And then Vlad Guerrero Sr. in 2005. But then it changed into the show, and first one was David Ortiz.
Fair.
David
I'm
Wright.
never going to say no to that.
David Wright, 07.
Fair. I think people forget how good he actually was at the Hall of. If he wasn't injured, he'd be a Hall of Famer.
True. Ryan Howard, 08.
Fair.
Also, yeah, around that time.
They won the World Series that year.
Yeah, and he was hitting like 50 bombs a year.
Yeah.
Dustin Pedroia in 09.
Fair.
Around the time, yeah. Then Joe Mauer got back-to-backs.
Hall of Famer.
2010 and 2011.
Which you would think it'd be Shohei, right?
Adrian Gonzalez. I don't know how he got 2012, but he got 2012.
Yeah.
When he was with the Red Sox. Weird.
Yeah, no. Because he had like 1 year.
Andrew McCutcheon.
Fair.
Yes.
Kids do not understand how beastly that guy was. And when he went to the Yankees, just like Ichiro, he was at the end of the game. So it was disappointing, but still.
14 was Miggy Guerrero.
Fair.
So, yeah, won the Triple Crown. 15 was Yasiel Puig because he was like the hottest thing around that time.
Yeah. He was basically your Vlad Guerrero Jr.
And then Josh Donaldson, which is like the white Yasiel Puig.
Which is the only show I've ever purchased. And I only put in like 6 hours of it because it was too long for me.
Yeah, that's when he was.
I got it for $20.
17 was basically like their throwback, which was like Ken Griffey Jr. So they had
Fair.
a throwback at it. It was okay, fine. That's when he got into the Hall of Fame, so it was very pertinent. Then Aaron Judge.
28. So young face of the franchise because Judge back then was like 26, 27. So that makes sense. Hence the Carroll concept.
Bryce Harper, 2019.
Yeah, sure.
That's when he got to the Phillies. His first year. Javi Baez of the Cubs. This is probably going to be like the worst one in retrospect now because his career has died at this point.
Yeah. He's in Chicago? He's on the White Sox or Detroit Tigers? I think he's the Detroit Tigers.
He's with the Tigers. They signed him to a big contract, and it's gone horribly wrong.
We know sports. This is a sports show, everybody.
Yeah. Fernando Tatis Jr. That one in like now in retrospect, sure, it's like okay, whatever. All the stuff came out, the ringworm, but he was like the hot thing.
Yeah,
2021, right? The bat flips. He's Dominican. He's got the hair, whatever. He's the son of a former player, and he was just like, oh, this guy's gonna be the next big thing. And then the injuries, motorcycle injury, and then the
ringworm.
Everything with the ringworm. So, and then Shohei, which makes sense.
Yep.
Surprised that we got Jazz in 2023. That one's a surprise. I'm still surprised by that one.
It's young face of the franchise, but it's the Marlins, so he's gonna be traded in 2 years.
I don't understand how they chose Jazz out of everybody, but
he does have the best cover though.
That's true. But he had, and it was also they were trying to do like a Negro League celebration, and there aren't many black players in Major League Baseball that are like that people can think of that are like on upper echelon right now.
Yeah, but then we would just be like, you can't go with a Jackie Robinson, you know? Did Jackie play?
It'd be weird to do like a Jackie Robinson edition. Like,
well,
I don't know why. I'm not sure, or like a Hank Aaron edition because he died last year, right, or something like that.
Yeah.
So.
You could always just do Barry Bonds just show a pair.
Hank Aaron didn't die last year. He died in like 2021 or something.
Yeah, but my question is, if you think that, and this is a delicate topic, so please understand, everybody's listening where we're coming from here. If your conspiracy theory is that the show is introducing the Negro League and then doing Derek Chisholm, then why not just have someone who is known for the Negro League in there?
Because it wouldn't sell.
Yeah, that's the problem, and that's the top problem. Here I am being like, oh, Josh Allen's on the Bills, and you know my opinion, Josh Allen has not changed in 4 years. Very good quarterback, borderline great, but I think he's needs piece of the puzzle more than anything else. And that's why I bought Madden. Aside from the fact that I never buy sports games yearly.
And now we got Vlad Jr., which it's fine. He's the son of a Hall of Famer. He's Canadian. He's also Dominican. and he had good numbers last year. I'm not saying last season was not a bad season.
We
by
set
any
all-star
stretch.
numbers on this chat and on the
Exactly.
show, kids.
But out of
I would not buy a thing
all of
for
the candidates, especially the guys that got awards last season, that one's surprising. That's all we're saying right now.
So going
I'm not
forward,
getting it unless I activate Game Pass or something. It's not going to be on PC.
there's not going to be that big of differences. So
Yeah, so I still got 23, and yeah, if anything, I'd probably only get it if I want like the Switch version, so I can just take it with me. That's really it.
So I guess I'm gonna pivot. We want to make it into a sports segment.
We're at
sport
56
game?
minutes, so I don't know.
Oh well, this is. I guess it's there because you have both the show, and you have NHL.
Okay.
Technically, you have Madden, and I feel like I'm missing those.
NBA. 2K.
NBA, but you don't have 2K though, so it doesn't count.
I don't have 2K.
Of the three that you have, what do you think is the best cover?
Well, let's see. I have Madden 22. I have the one that has Tom Brady and Pat Mahomes on the cover.
That's the one I have. Yes.
Okay, so I have that one, and then I don't know. They're just kind of sitting down. It's not really flashy. It's
just
kind of
chilling.
weird.
They're telling me that, hey, we've been seeing from the corner. We'd like to buy you a drink. I know that look.
Yeah. So there's that. NHL is Cale Makar. Great player, great defenseman. The natural choice would have been Kachuk after, he literally has an iconic pose that would have been great on a video game cover. But
not just player, but also style, right?
Exactly. Style, swag, everything. But Makar's is kind of, okay, cool, fine. And then I guess this year with Vlad Jr., I don't know, man. Doesn't really have like video game cover body, to be honest. A little too thick for me.
Nah,
it's
I will
kind of
tell
weird.
you.
He's like the Fernando Tatis cover of 21 is really good. It's the bat flip. It's just like, it's all right. This looks like a legitimately fun looking game. Shohei was kind of, I don't know, kind of boring-ish.
Yeah, very red.
Yeah, I mean, he was on the Angels, right? So that's why I went with a bunch of
but
red.
obnoxiously red.
Obnoxious red. With Jazz, it was all purple and teal and very Miami.
It looked graffiti based, which I think it was one of the better ones.
Yeah, and he's just with his bling.
Yeah, I do like the Cale Makar one that I have because we both have the NHL hockey, and I'm still learning. Today I chose to do Mario RPG.
Well, it's a pretty active pose. He's got the whatever he's sliding on the ice. It's with like the snow coming off his skates. So it's an active pose, at the very least. I think it's pretty different than the other ones. I forgot who was on the cover last year. But yeah, out of all those, that would be it. Actually, let's see, how are we doing now? All right, so we're gonna see at 1 hour, Charles. So let's head into the word from our non-sponsors, people and places and things and concepts, what have you been enjoying over the last week. I've got two today, Charles. I'm gonna give my first one.
All right.
And this is basically like a retrospective type of thing. So I'm gonna get maybe a little bit sentimental, but it's gonna be the Nintendo 3DS.
Yeah. You say that as I'm doing Super Mario RPG Remake.
Right. So the 3DS released back in 2012 or 2011, actually 2011. I got it. I think my sister bought it for me as an early graduation present from college. So I just had to go and pick it up at a GameStop. And so I did. I picked it up, and it was glorious. It's in teal. It's the only Nintendo console that's ever been officially released in that color.
Sexy.
Especially at launch. It's the original one. I have not replaced it. Nintendo has come out with, and let me try and get this on the screen here. Nintendo's come out with a bunch of different iterations of the 3DS. Yeah, the 3DS XL. Yeah, the 3DS, the 2DS, the 2DS XL, then the new 3DS, the new 3DS XL, and the new 2DS. and 2DS XL. They've come out with so many different versions of the same system because it was the only thing propping them up because the Wii U bombed.
But here's the thing. May I explain?
Yeah, I
Wii
mean,
U bombed,
we
it
love
brought
the
us
Wii U.
together. But it brought us together.
Yes, the Wii U.
If there was no Nintendo, there's no brochachos up in this bitch.
Right.
10.
And the the Wii U, yeah, I'm not saying it's a bad console at all. It's basically like the Dreamcast, right? It bombed in light of better, stronger competition on the side. Just people didn't get it. But yeah, the 3DS family of systems, just a bunch of things, a bunch of games. I played a ton of it. I would.
How's your hand?
I mean, it didn't hurt. I mean, you were just kind of getting used to it back then, but it's a small form factor. That's when portables were truly portable. Back then, even the 3D, the Switch is not portable. Even the Switch Lite isn't as small as the original 3DS. But fun system, the 3D feature, which I know a lot of people didn't really use it a lot. I used it. I thought it was fun. I thought it was a cool, neat little thing. Some games utilized it for some gameplay aspects, like Mario 3D Land had some levels that were specifically like, if you play this with 3D on, it'll help you out a little bit better. And the game library, as much as I played it a ton, I didn't feel like it was as strong as what was on the DS. And I'm not. It might have been the weird transition period for Nintendo where they were just making both systems and then realizing like we can just do this in one console instead of two. You saw some weirdness where they even had Kirby's Epic Yarn. They started porting over a bunch of older games from like the Wii and the DS and Game Boy Advance and even the GameCube. They re-released Luigi's Mansion. I didn't buy a Pokemon game on the system. But I did try out a lot of things. I didn't have as many games on this as I did with the DS, but there was the eShop first time on that. Introduced that on a portable handheld. I had the Miiverse on there as well, which was surprisingly pretty good, even though it was a Nintendo social media thing. It was still surprisingly pretty cool to see. Some notable games. Mario 3D Land was great. Played through Metroid Samus Returns, which was like the precursor to what we would get with Metroid Dread. So that was pretty good. Smash Brothers was on here as well.
That's right.
So Smash Brothers
that incredible roster
for 3DS, and I remember that came out 1L year, and that was when I was being very good.
Were you bringing the Switch to? Was it you who was bringing that to?
Not 1L year,
library?
2L year. I did bring my Wii U and hook it up to the TV in the lounge.
Okay.
But Smash Bros. For 3DS, I remember when it came out. It was like the 3DS version came out first in October, and I bought it, I downloaded it, and I played it over the course of a weekend, and I played it for like 12 hours. And I had to pack up my 3DS and I handed it over to my cousin. And I gave it to him like, I can't see this thing right now. You can give it back to me in like 2 months after finals. So that was how much I was addicted to that. Had the Street Pass feature,
Yep.
which was you could just have it closed and it would communicate with other people, and certain games would have some gameplay features where you could like trade items or have certain people come into your 3DS to help you out and everything like that. It was a pretty cool feature, especially if like you're on a college campus. A lot of people had that, so it was pretty cool to bring the 3DS and just have that around for that. And that's what I did throughout law school. Really, I just had my 3DS in my backpack to get like Street Pass hits and everything like that for my games.
Could you imagine what it would have been like if we had Switches?
Yeah, that would have been interesting. But the Switch doesn't even have Street Pass. Like the Switch doesn't even have like some features from this that I wish was on the Switch, to be honest. And I'm going through this now because I've reached the end of the road for the 3DS. I never upgraded the system. I never bought a new 3DS. I thought about it a few years back, but I realized like there's really not much more I want to collect for it. Sonic Generations was on there. They had a Sonic Lost World was on there as well. Zelda: Link Between Worlds was fantastic. And what other games are standing out to me?
Pokemon, man.
I didn't play a Pokemon on there.
See, I stole my nephew's for like a couple days.
Yeah, I didn't play a Pokemon game on the 3DS. They had a new Super Mario Brothers game, but it was awful. Gosh, I'm trying to think of the...
Was that the one where all it did was just kind of like jump, break bricks, jump, break bricks, and that's it?
The entire premise of that new Super Mario Brothers 2 was to like collect 1,000,000 coins, and it was just so easy that it really had no challenge to it. I didn't buy the Mario Kart for that either. They had the two 3D Zelda remakes for the N64 on there. I had Star Fox 64 remake on there as well, which was pretty nice. And had a few Game Boy Advance games on there. NES, Super Nintendo, Virtual Console games were there too. You could download some DSiWare games. There were a few of them that were pretty good, but you can't find them anywhere anymore. Especially this year, they're closing everything. Everything's being finished right now for the 3DS and the Wii U. So that's why Nintendo's shutting down all the online services. They shut down the eShop last year, and this year they're shutting down all of the online services. You can't do anything with the console. You can't download anything anymore. You can just play local multiplayer, and that's it. Nintendo likes it's over. It's been
because you know what's coming.
Because what? We got a new
Switch 2, baby.
2, yeah, it's coming out probably this year with Metroid Prime 4.
You're the Charles Reed. You don't think that Switch 2 is gonna be part of it? I'm calling that shot.
Yeah, Metroid Prime 4 hopefully will come out with it, and I'm finishing up. I have Metroid Prime Federation Force. I beat it this weekend. It was the last one in the true backlog of the 3DS games that I've purchased that was left. I have Kid Icarus, but I got that for free because remember, Nintendo used to have a points program a long time ago that was pretty damn good. I got a ton of free games from Nintendo, and they're like, we're not doing that no more. So they gave me I got a ton of free games during the 3DS and the Wii U era. So Kid Icarus is left. I'll probably beat that this week, and then I will pack up my 3DS and send it over to Video Game Valhalla, which is my parents' house. And it got me through some, I guess, pretty tough times, pretty lonely times, especially around 2013 when I was just kind of didn't know where I wanted to go in life, and things kind of got hard for me. And then I played a ton of 3DS. If you look back on my play times, you'll see it. But I played a bunch of games. A bunch of DS games. It was backwards compatible too, which was also great. Hopefully the Switch 2 will be. But now it's time. It's the end of the road, and it was good. It was good to me. It was good to me for 12, nearly 13 years now, which surprisingly matches up with Alan Wake, who was also trapped for 13 years. So yeah, the 3DS promo code D's nuts.
What?
3D's nuts. 3D's nuts.
Something tells me this is what you guys did when you were youngins. But go ahead.
All right, I'm done. You're next.
I'm gonna give you two, but one of them's gonna be really quick on irony.
All right, yeah, because I got a second one that I really do want to talk about.
So this one's just an irony because they've sponsored us before. They have paid us to talk about them. But as I'm leaving Tampa, it's like 1 a.m. and I had to get gas, and I told Derek, I'm like, bro, because we had those tacos like 6 o'clock, and if you're expecting me to make it home, remember what time did I get home, dude? 5:30. I shower. I'm gonna give a shout out to this one McDonald's that was open 24 hours,
Okay. All right.
as you know, off by wherever near Tropicana, where I ordered my McChicken, small fries, and a Sprite. And I don't eat in my car, but I had to in that purposes. And this man ordered a double cheeseburger and fries and a cup of water.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you now, that McChicken, fries, Sprite, and a little bit of my caffeine pill that I had left, a small amount, helped me survive going there. So the irony is on us because they tried to get us on the BTS stuff, and we didn't do
BTS
it.
meal. We didn't do it.
The Sweeties meal, we didn't do it.
We said the McRib had cancer.
The McRib had cancer, but you know what doesn't have cancer? All reliable. McChicken fries and a Sprite. And I don't go for McDonald's when I've been drinking. I actually go for it if I have a late night like craving and I need something if I'm driving back from somewhere.
True.
And there's, even though it's $2.89, and I remember the days when it was $1.25, kids. I get it. But you still pay for the quality, and I just don't like their cheeseburger. So I know it's a backhanded compliment, McDonald's. I'm sorry. But I do love a McChicken. There's just something about it because a McChicken. All right, this is the best way I'm going to explain this. I had to put my control down. The McChicken is the equivalent of a good chicken sandwich from school, from high school. You know what I'm talking about, right? Just that chicken. I can't explain it. That's what it reminds me of. And they put their cheap lettuce, put their proper weirdly spread mayo, because it's not even like, you know, properly spread on a bun. It's literally like droplets of it. And it still tastes fresh. And the fries were piping hot. And it was salty. And I felt like I was 7 again. So that's the whole theme of the Royal Rumble going from there. So that's the thing. Promo code McChicken. You know, that's all you need to know. So, if you remember last week, your boy got free drinks at Townie's because somebody was sauced up beyond belief that they bought my tab. But I didn't care for the chicken wings. They have some other goods, but whatever. But I originally wanted to go to Castaways to get my chicken wings. You know, I don't drink beer like that. I'm 34. The acid reflux will get you. We're trying not to spit up blood like we used to. We've been doing pretty good. I think you'd be proud of me. I've changed a little bit of my diet. It's shocking, right? Part of it's not heavy chocolates, also not heavy on the alcohol, and then also sleeping with a pillow propped up and just like reducing Melinda's hot sauce. But when I was last at Castaways about 2.5 weeks ago, I had last gotten their hot wings and then like their beer because they don't do any other kind of liquor. And I can't drink wine because I can't gauge it. That's all I'm saying on that. But I saw a gentleman that I was talking to that had sticky wings. And I'm like, yo, I gotta try that next time. So I went to Castaways Friday because when they told me the private event was closed, they gave me a free beer pass. So I was never going to use it the next 30 days, right? So I had to use it then. So I get the beer, Nitro's Land of Black Ash. Very weird name, but it sounds cool because it sounds like a death metal band, right? But I had their sticky wings. And it is a combo of, and I believe, cinnamon, garlic, light on the garlic, and sweet Thai chili. And
is
brother,
Jensen Beach.
Yep, it's in Jensen Beach. It is one of the best wings I've ever had for a sticky wing. Because I don't necessarily like a dry rub, but it's a combo of the dry rub and like the sauce. And it was like $15, come with a pack of 8. I got the poutine fries as well. Because they don't, for whatever reason, they don't fries as a side for the chicken wings. So you have to order both, but that's fine. I was going to eat that anyway, right? And I was like in literal heaven as I'm eating the poutine. If y'all don't know what poutine is, how they do it: waffle fries, cheese curds, gravy, and like cuts of meat in there, along with, you know, just whatever kind of fattiness, greatness that they had. And then I'm having those chicken wings, these sticky wings, which has its own separate selection. So I gotta tell you guys, you know that shit, you know, 10 is going to be good when it's not even on the typical wing menu. It's its own separate thing. If you do not know that, I'm telling you right now, that's the secret sauce. That is that is your gut instinct of what you have to know. And I brought it home, gave some to the family. They're like, oh my God, this is great. And they kindly left me leftovers because they ate some of the poutines. But guys, it was the best chicken wings I've had in a long time. You know I love bruiser wings. Castaways was an old school thing where me and my buddy Steven had done. Love you, Steve. Hope you hear this. That we've done before. And I've always liked their wings, but I've been on a wing kick, and I think it's because even though I haven't been watching any of the football, man, that's always what you associate with football.
I'm scrolling through the photos now.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's not their sticky wings, but that's their garlic palm wings. But for some reason, like their website's under construction. Sticky wings, Castaways. I'm just seeing if that's an easier thing. But it was such a delicious, delicious thing, and my mouth's watering right now. And I've been on a bad bender for chicken wings. You know this. And like I used to destroy that stuff, man, back in the day. Chicken wings, cheese fries, and alcohol, beer. That's a football remedy. But I've been to Castaways before. I usually have gone to like the past 3 years, just once on my birthday or the day before my birthday. But now I'm trying to venturing more. You know, a lot of my friends move out, and you missed a poutine. 1 second, step back like 4 photos.
Poutine.
You gotta go back left.
Poutine.
A little bit more. A little bit more.
See some tots.
A little bit more.
Here we go.
Look at that animal. So if you want variety, if you want flavor, if you want zesty and you want tasty, go to Castaways in Jensen Beach. If you live in the area, Georgia Coast, do it. If you are visiting, do it. It is tasty, it's delicious. Get the sticky wings, get the poutine, get whatever you want. Get their burgers. They're just delicious. They know quality. Sometimes waiting to get seated is a pain in the ass, 11, but it's well worth the ride. So that's my non-sponsors, because good luck trying to find the sticky wings if they're going off the photos. I sent photos to you guys. You should look into the chat.
I'm seeing the close up of the poutine right now.
Yeah, I know, and I don't know if you like poutine, but for a fatty like me,
I mean, it's fries and gravy. So.
Yeah, fries and gravy. You know, not everything has to be fries and ketchup, kids. Not everything has to be fries and ketchup, kids. You know, I mean, I won't hate that. I also do love cheese fries, though. I'm not talking about dunked in cheese fries, but I'm just talking about like them mixed in with it. You know what I mean? Their cinnamon fries are good. Their burgers are big and tasty. Oof. See them. I kind of want to go this weekend again.
Yeah,
you know, the bartenders are like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like,
right now. That looks pretty damn good.
I love novelty places. Like, I do think the best food is always going to be in a hole in a wall. But I live in a more like modern, like white gentrified area, so like you're not gonna get that. Miami, I'd be in a field day. You know how many hole in the walls are in Miami? Whew, love it. But I do like novelty, and if you're gonna have a creative menu, it's gonna be my cup of tea. And it's something I've been around for like 7 years, and you know I should go there more. I think I'm gonna go there more, even when it's not football based. You know, if they didn't even have like any games playing because it was a Friday night, so I'm watching like ESPN coverage of gymnastics and then like tennis. But I was just there for the food. I was also I love people watching, so I was eavesdropping on a very bad date where obviously the guy was just like touting BS that wasn't true at all. And you know, being a lawyer, I do think we have one God-given gift that we all have a certain thing that we kind of work with, which is the fact that you can smell bullshit 11 a mile away. Castaways, get you some. It's delicious. I've non-sponsored before. I'm non-sponsoring again. Good quality food, good quality people. You never have a problem with it. Love it. I'm going to go back by the end of the month. Or actually, the end of the month is tomorrow. I'm going to go back there in early February. And I'll continue to go back there. Promo code tasty.
Tasty. Yeah. Yeah, this all looks really, really good and really nice. Man, I am jealous right now.
Yeah, because Miami doesn't have gastropubs that much. That's my biggest complaint about them. No Irish pubs.
Yeah, everything's Cuban restaurants, some sort of Latino flair type of thing,
which is fine. But when they're like a dime a dozen,
bunch of Italian restaurants, like how many fucking Italian one? That's my
everybody loves
how
noodles.
How many fucking Italian restaurants can we have around here too?
I think you're on 5. Everybody, yeah, one. Everybody loves noodles though. That's the thing.
All right. So I'm going to give you my second one, and I don't think I can play this one, but I can refer to it. So I'm getting back into watching anime.
Okay. I need to get back into watching anime.
Now that I'm not in the 100 games kick, trying to finish 100 games every year now.
Do you feel better about that?
I mean, it was good. It was good. Beating 300 plus games in the last 3 years was good for me because it expanded my horizons, my gaming horizons. Before that, I just had the Switch and the Nintendo consoles. And then starting 2020, pandemic, everything like that, got the gaming PC and just expanded from there, right? So now I've had different flavors, got into the Remedyverse, you know, found a bunch of, you know, really good indie games, really good retro games, and everything in between. and now I have more of more broadened horizons as far as gaming is concerned. Definitely much. I'm not just Nintendo centric anymore, so that was a good thing about it. But now that I've done it, now that I finally have finished and accomplished that, I can slow it down a bit. We'll focus on the true backlog. While I have it, it's very.
Tell them what true backlog is.
At this, the true backlog, how many games?
No, tell them what a true backlog is.
The games that I have purchased with my own money that I need to beat. Not games that I've received for free or as gifts. Just games that I need to beat them because I need to justify buying them. So,
and your boy tempts him a lot, guys.
Indeed, but the last game
I did buy Scott Pilgrim for me.
The last game I did buy was God of War 2018, Dad of War. So eventually I do have to get to God of War 3, and I can try and retire the PS3. Just Metal Gear Solid 4 as well, and the Uncharted series 1, 2, and 3. I also have to get through. There's 2 Final Fantasy games, and so eventually I'll get through those. And the 3DS is going to be retired now. The Wii U I have to get through as well. But anyways, it's this slowing down on the gaming because I won't beat as many games this year is helping me to do other things. I released 2 new merch lines on my Panthers Historian thing. I've got a Marlins one that I've got in the works right now. It's in the concept phase. Eventually, I will put it together and shoot it out. Hopefully before the season starts. And I'm watching stuff again. Eventually I have to get back into the music stuff as well and start listening to things again because there's only so much I can listen to Herald of Darkness, even though I do the dance every time I listen to it.
Dog, what? That was like, I had to do an evaluation today, so I was just jamming to Alan Wake 2. Sorry, size. You got me on that.
Yeah, man. But it's still, eventually I do have to listen to something else that isn't from Remedy or Poets of the Fall. Ghost Stories. This is what I've been watching lately. There's 2 animes, really, but I'll talk about the other one once I finish that series. But I can talk about this one. It's called Ghost Stories. It's free. It's on YouTube. The entire series is free. It's officially released on YouTube. The dubbed version and the subbed version. But you must watch the dubbed version only. Because the dubbed version, this is an anime that was released back in 2000, and it was dubbed back in recently, actually, in the mid 2010s, by these, I think it's called ADV Films, 2014. So they dubbed it around that time. They gave the voice actors, the English voice actors, free reign to improvise whatever the hell they wanted to. So they are following the script of the story, but it is not PC in the slightest, Charles.
Is it just like us shooting from the hip?
Oh, it's worse than that.
That's fantastic.
Oh, you have to, I will send you the link. You have to watch, the first episode will get you. As soon as you hear the first improvised thing that they've got, you're like, oh, this is it. Because it gets better / worse from there. And these are you'll recognize the voices too. These aren't amateurs doing this. There are people that you'll recognize voices from them dubbing other animes. It's just that they had the script. It was like, okay, here's this is how the story's supposed to go, but you guys just have free reign as to how you want to do the in-between periods. So you see somebody moving their mouth and they'll just say something. And I don't want to say any joke from it because I do not want to spoil this for you.
It is rare to have a funny anime for anybody. I'm a shonen kind of guy.
It's not,
which is prodigal son kind of prodigal hero stuff. So if you think it's funny and legitimately funny that isn't sexualized, because unfortunately a lot of Japanese anime is hypersexualized that even I feel uncomfortable with it.
But the thing is, the anime itself is not supposed to be funny. It's about,
that makes it even better.
It's about the premise is it's this family, this girl, she's I guess, I don't know, middle school age or early high school age, and her little brother, and like their mom is dead, but their dad takes them to this town. They move into this town, and there's like a school, and it's the school, and then you have the old version of the school, which is haunted, right? And it's all about like ghosts coming out and messing with the people of this town. And she meets this guy and his friend and this other girl, and they become friends with her. And it's just the adventures they have dealing with the ghosts in this town.
So living in Miami, I understand this. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And they find a book, and the book they find out that's explaining all these paranatural stuff was actually a diary that was kept by her mom when she was alive. So they're using that to able to help them fight off these ghosts. That's the premise, and there are legitimately like pretty freaky episodes as far as like the animation and everything's concerned and what the storyline is supposed to be. But then they say something that has absolutely nothing to do with what's going on, or it's just like this improvised thing, and it's like it just makes everything just lighthearted after that. But it's not supposed to be. But the voice actors have given this like I wish more anime did like more anime dubs did this. I don't know what other ones they could find out there that they could do it, because everything else is like seriously dubbed. It's you know as accurate now as they could possibly do it now. But this one, not PC in the slightest. I can't even play the jokes right now.
Jesus Christ.
But it's on YouTube. You can listen to it there, and you will crack up. So just think, what if, in some sense, what if the guys from South Park could dub an anime?
This tells me all I need.
So, ghost stories. Well, I'm trying to think of a joke I can use as the promo code. Promo code. Little bitch.
Jesus.
8 or 9. I'm not sure where I'm at now.
Can you do it if it's a promo code? If it's based off a joke?
It's just a small thing, but man, you have to watch this. I'm on episode 10 right now. I think it's only hold on, let me see how many episodes this is. This is where's the episode list or how many episodes they've got. Honestly, the storyline is it's all right, but it's just
it's just the humor.
It's just the humor of the dub that has got me. It's 20 episodes, so I'm halfway through. 20 episodes are like 20 minutes long. Shouldn't take you that long to get through them. Yeah, and then I've got another one lined up that I will also recommend, but I'm not done with it yet. Okay, we're at an hour and a half. NFC and AFC championship games. I don't really have much to say. I saw the Chiefs game, and all right, the Chiefs won. Lamar Jackson had one good throw for a touchdown. Mm-hmm. I made fun of the Dolphins and Tua on Twitter one time. It gave me what I needed, because that's what real quarterbacks are supposed to look like, and what a real team is supposed to look like, and what real coaching is supposed to look like. And the Chiefs did what people were. I mean, a lot of people were shitting on them over the course of the season, but it was just like they just turned it on when they needed to turn it on. So that's all I could say, to be honest. And I saw the Lions game up to the half, and then I drove back home because I was visiting family, and then I got back and I realized they had lost. So that sucks for them, huh?
Yeah, I mean, my whole thought process, I think I've said it this entire football season, I view it to be a little bit unexceptional, but it goes back to I am here to be a pro Chief supporter because of the fact that I really hate how everybody's kind of like putting Taylor Swift of all people as the bad guy here, because they're sick of him. Like, it's not CBS and Amazon, everything put her on the spectacle, because she makes money and she has $1 billion and she has a fandom that goes beyond. I think they have a hard time just believing that a pop star has a bigger fandom than their own favorite sports person, but that should not be uncommon. When Michael Jackson had a bigger fandom, Whitney Houston had a bigger fandom. They were demanding these people. Usher has a bigger fandom. And it really, and I said it last week, and I'm going to say it again, I think it's disgusting. I think it's the fact that these overbearing fake-ass men, I'm not even going to count it, I'm almost counting 12 fucking fake-ass men, 13, 14, believe that a male sport shouldn't have a spectacle of a woman being bigger than their show, which it's not that at all. It's a woman supporting her boyfriend, which apparently you guys can't get at all from your wives or your significant others, who does nothing wrong, and somehow you change conjecture. You did this 10 plus years ago when Jessica Simpson was with Tony Romo. I remember talking about it last week. Again, you just I mean, if you guys are really complaining about it, I think you just hate anybody be a fan or a viewership. If you think there's she doesn't really know about sports, you don't know her like that. The internet is very toxic, but it is ridiculous how people hate on it. So I want them to win. I want Lamar. I'm sorry, Lamar. I love you. I support you as RB1. You got your extension. I want Patrick Mahomes to get number 3. I want Kelsey to get number 3. I want Andy to get number 3. I want Taylor to be at the ring ceremony. I hope they announce her as MVP. I'm going to go that far. It is ride or die coming into it. So that's my thoughts on it with that. And then the Chiefs just play great. And the reason why you shouldn't want the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl is not because of the fact that Taylor Swift's going to be broadcasted. It's because of the fact that they're so good that the regular season doesn't matter to them, and they've hit that pinnacle of let's just wait till the regular season or to the playoffs, which is very similar to a certain basketball team in South Florida, which if they get into the playoffs, they just turn it on. Just saying. Little prediction there. Lions, Niners, whatever. You blew a 17-point lead. I feel no pity for you. Sorry, Detroit. Some people hate that it's a rematch. We're not going to do predictions yet because it's 2 weeks away. We do need substance for our show. But I'm okay with rematches. Why? Because sports need rivalries. We've talked about this. I've said this. And if you're, because the thing is, it's not
have a good one
at all. Ravens Steelers or Browns versus either or tends to be the actually good ones, in my opinion. It is a slugfest, I feel like, every time I watch it. So if we're going to get that with the same group of people, even though there's no Jimmy G, it's really going to be Kyle Shanahan versus Andy Reid versus Patrick Mahomes. I'm kind of for it. And if you guys aren't, look, we all wanted Baltimore Detroit because it was the feel-good story, but it's not happening. So let's just take Patty Mahomes. And I think people are scared of greatness because if this man legitimately gets into his 4th Super Bowl and wins his 3rd one within 4 appearances, it's going to scare people and make it seem like Brady wasn't that great to begin with, right? Because I guess we'll do some dissection because it's a sports show. Why not? We spend all this time talking about McChickens and stuff. Brady was not on Mahomes' level when he got to 1 and 2, and possibly, presumably 3, right, of level of play. And Mahomes, to do it this year, when there was no Tyreek Hill, and he did it last year without Tyreek Hill. We forget that, right? We forget that he did that without Tyreek Hill last year. And for whatever reason, we just make excuses. But when everybody's made drops, when there's no other, like Sammy Watkins, for what's worth, he's not in the league anymore, but he was a good complementary receiver to help out both Hill and Kelsey, is out. When Clyde Edward-Helaire has not worked out as running back, but they found out Isaiah Pacheco was a 7th-round running back. When they're working on Rishi Rice, and then Marquez Valdez-Scantling finds one ball to catch, and then they had trade back from Michael Harmon. When it is as deficient to properly game plan, I think it's something exceptional because it goes back to, I've seen Tom Brady win Super Bowls with no-name receivers, and I think that scares people. And it's amazing that before Mahomes was drafted and started, even when they have Alex Smith, there was a feel-good support of the Kansas City Chiefs. And I put it in our chat because Andrew didn't say that he's sick of the Chiefs in there. He's enjoying the Swifties coming in. But it was something I supplemented on. And when I sent that tweet, it wasn't even to you guys. It was them. It's as if people hate greatness because we're very hypocritical. Because I can understand not hating the Patriots because they did cheat twice. The sign stealing and the camera. So yeah, I don't believe in the deflated balls theory because even though it happened, it was like a 40-12 blowout where Eric Blunt ran and everything. But we hate that. But yet we won't hate on the fact that the Bulls had double triples of back-to-back-to-back appearances, right? Or when the Lakers win it. We hate it if they were in our division. We have a rivalry. But we'll curate our greatness appropriately, but it just can't be the Kansas City Chiefs because it's not a metropolitan area, which makes me kind of just want them to win even more. Because I think people forget that the Chiefs are actually really a small market team. They're just now investing their money more because they have cash. So that's just my thoughts on that. And the Niners win fantastic. Brock Purdy has earned the level of respect. I think I'm just kind of over of having to deal with 17 plus weeks with over a season and a half of is your real quarterback not? No matter what, he's a starting quarterback for Kyle Shanahan. There you go. This is not comparing, and we've been picking on him all season, so we have to do one more dig at him. Desmond Riddler, right? Night and day. And I'm fine with a rivalry game. I like rivalry games. We should appreciate these kind of things because if not, we're gonna get weird matchups like the Bengals versus the Rams, which doesn't get us anywhere of a storyline except for it's Joe Burrow's first appearance in the Super Bowl and it's Matt Stafford's first win. The storyline was that he had to be traded into it because we don't want unexceptions, or we get even worse if we don't have rivalries. We get Patriots versus Rams where it's like 13-6, man, or 3. Please. It's just been a bad football season. Just saying.
Yeah, I've got nothing more to say about it. Let's see. We're at 1 hour and 36 minutes. I'm kind of tapped out with everything else. I'm kind of tired too. So we can try and end this show early. And we'll go into a big subject with the cage, to be honest. At this point, we've so we can take it away, Charles. I'll put us there.
All right, sure. All right, welcome everybody to your weekly Triplex, The Cage with Charles. Now, disclaimer, what we opened the show with was not the cage. It was my own little bit of observation and fun. Wrestling is not fake. It's scripted. It's a stage fight. It's a song and dance. It's men and women being the holy hell of each other, establishing their legacies, chasing championships, and just trying to make me buy their merchandise, apparently, which they do pretty damn well. So, all that being said, it'll be kind of slightly abbreviated. Royal Rumble was this weekend, just to give full reminders of what the results were. Bayley won the Royal Rumble. Naomi did not win, even though that's why I wanted her to win. I knew Bayley was winning. Roman retained the title by pinning AJ, which I think I called. Kevin Owens lost to Logan Paul by a disqualification because the ref saw the brass knucks. And then Cody Rhodes won the Royal Rumble. There were some consequences to this game, man, because WrestleMania season, you got to rep some people in bubble wrap. CM Punk, who was building up a great storyline between him and Seth, tore his triceps again, but it was a different triceps than when he tore in, over in AEW. So he's out, man, 4 to 6 months. That's fine. Let him heal. Let Seth heal. I'd rather they have him drop the title, but it's not going to happen, right? However, he'll still be at Mania, and they'll decide it, and they'll figure it out. But they should main event SummerSlam. Let that happen. But he's injured. Seth's slightly injured. Kevin Owens apparently wrestled a match with a fractured foot. Ow. The injury bug's pretty bad. Raw was yesterday. I sent you guys some clips. Shout out to Kofi Kingston. Of course, my boy Gunther, the greatest intercontinental heavyweight championship ever. Sorry, Mr. Perfect Kurt Hennig, you were fantastic, but I'm just going a different level here. For a fantastic match on free TV. I was talking to Derek about it earlier. What I've loved about the Triple H administration is that TV matches actually get a lot of time. And I'm not asking for 30-minute matches, but it's refreshing to get stuff that is 15 minutes or more. There were some title changes before the Royal Rumble. The Kabuki Warriors of Asuka and Kairi Sane. I almost went for a different name, but Kairi Sane, they won the women's tag championships off of Katana Chance, and then Casey Catanzaro. Their reign of 40-plus games or 40-plus match days as champions have ended. This has just built the damage control storyline where Bayley, who is in the same faction as the Kabuki Warriors, and Io Sky, who is also the SmackDown Women's Champion. Well, it's not SmackDown Women's Champion. What was it? The Women's WWE Championship now, and how they're going to fracture that. The bigger storylines behind the Royal Rumble is who Bayley is going to choose. It's presumed she's going to be choosing Rhea Ripley, but Nia Jax came out last night and beat the holy hell out of Rhea Ripley and telling her, don't do that. So is Bayley going to choose Io? Is Damage Control going to turn on her out of fear? Interesting stuff. Other component, Cody Rhodes. Is he going to pick Roman? Is he going to pick Seth? We know he's picking Roman, but Seth came out last night to make his pleas saying, hello, pick me, pick me, pick me. You want the Workhorse title. You want the Dusty title. You don't want the basic ass 13 title that Roman has. We know Cody's picking Roman. Interesting stuff. NXT tonight. I do not know the card, but this Sunday is Vengeance Day. So let me just do that real quickly. Do my predictions. I have not been watching NXT the last couple weeks. Sorry. So I'm just going to shoot from the hip on what I know from the Twitter telling me and my instincts. Baron Corbin, Braun Breaker versus Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams in the NXT Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. Baron Corbin, Braun Breaker win. They've been interesting to me. Lyra Valkyria versus Roxanne Perez. Lyra Valkyria wins, ending Roxanne Perez's NXT run. She goes to the main roster. Obafemi, big dude, versus Dragon Lee for the North American Championship. Dragon Lee was a presiding champion. Obafemi cashed in his contract. Does he have won the breakout tournament? Going against Dragon Lee and destroyed him. I think Obafemi retains, and then Dragon Lee can finally go to the main event properly. Ilya Dragunov versus Trick Daddy Williams, because Trick's doing double duty. Dragunov, I think, wins that because Carmelo Hayes is going to cost him. Building in that final feud before Hayes goes on to SmackDown permanently. And then the family of Tony D'Angelo, Channing Sachs, Lorenzo, and then Adriana Rizzo versus Alan Mudd, which is Lucia Price, Bronco Nima, and Jada Parker, going in a 6-person mixed tag team match. I don't know anything that's going on for the storyline. I just filed Jada Parker for reasons. I do like, D'Angelo and Channing, but I'm not really impressed with Alden Mudd. I think getting Jada Parker is going to make them more interesting, but mixed tag team matches can kind of screwy how they do timing. So that's over this weekend for them. So there's that. SmackDown. Cody is going to be on Raw, presumably to challenge Roman, put the fear hard on Roman. But don't you sweat, King. We're going to break that Hulk Hogan record. Yeah, we're going to have Cody lose at Mania again. I'm going to feel very good. And I know what you're saying, Francisco. What is it going to take for Charles to love Cody? Well, I'm in too deep now in character, and I can't sweat, man. You got to go down with the ship like the Titanic. That's all I got to say. AEW, building to the road of revolution. And the bigger questions are we getting Mercedes Moné? Are we getting Kazuchika Okada? Free agents who had left? Probably, most likely. But what we need to focus on is the bigger stories right now, which is Hangman Swerve and Hangman Swerve situationship roping in Samoa Joe in that AEW championship. I'm invested in that storyline. I have not been following up fully with it. I don't know what Big Bill and Ricky Starks doing the tag belts. I don't know what Christian's really doing the TNT title. Don't really know what Tony Storm's doing besides feuding Deonna Purrazzo, which should be a good match, but both are kind of, one's a new signing, and Tony Storm's still kind of too hot right now to have her lose her momentum, so Tony Storm's probably going to win. And then also the 50,000 titles that AEW has because it came out of Ring of Honor. We will build onto it, but it's still watchable. Charles is going to get invested. We have the Road to Revolution, which is built in March. WWE has Elimination Chamber in February 24th. We're going to be okay with it. I will be back in full capacity next week, kids. Kenny Omega is still doing diverticales. Please, heel. I kind of missed you in your gifts that you do there, the ring man, because when you're gone for all those months for almost a year, I felt that emptiness. And now you're not in the ring. I feel your emptiness now because you like to have your certain performance go from there. But if Hangman Swerve and Joe is going to keep me holding the fort until March, then by golly, my man, I'm all here for it. New Japan, Kazuchika Okada's left. We miss him, but he's probably going to do doing fine AEW. I highly doubt, dude, that he's going to go to WWE. He's going to have to move. I don't see him leaving Japan, go from there. And then we mentioned TNA, which used to be Impact. They're going to be doing the rebranding soon. They're doing good, man. Moose is your TNA heavyweight champion. Jordan Grace is your women's champion. I believe Chris Saban's still your X Division champion. I forgot who the tag champs are. I'm sorry. There's so much wrestling that's out there, and then, we can only do so much with it because they also have women's knockout division tag team champions as well. And they have the Digital Media Championship, which I think is Crazy Steve. Who is holding right now? I'm just curious. Are we forgetting? Are we not going to listen to me right now, Google? How dare you betray me? Why are you doing this? Why? Oh, it's Chris Bay and Ace Austin. I should know that. Bullet Club, which is like everywhere. And they have their own little sub things. But I did watch a couple of it the other day, last Thursday on Access, just watching some things. And I was watching Will Ospreay versus Josh Alexander, which I think I put to you guys in the chat. I try to get some diversity in there, just like anime. I just can't always do Shonen protagonists. I got to get a little weird and wacky, like Ghost Stories. So we're really building into full. But it's a good time to be a wrestling fan, guys. We're making our money. We're seeing good talents. And we're just having a good old time. But it's a very abbreviated week for the Cage because the Royal Rumble would have been part of it. And that's all I'm going to give you this week, man. All I'm going to give you this week. Have fun with it. Thank you.
Okay. All right. That's it. All right. Well, yeah. I mean, there's some stuff, and I guess other people have talked about it with the overall wrestling world and some not so.
Oh, also Vince McMahon's gone. I
Yeah,
should have mentioned that. Damn,
yeah,
I'm sorry. We
yeah,
gave the hints of it, but there was some stuff that came out in the civil suit,
yep.
very horrific stuff.
Yeah, and it's kind of bring on the mood of the show, but I just wanted to acknowledge it a little bit. But it's just that it's there.
You're the Charles Redux.
Yeah, yeah, and it's finally happening. This time it's permanent.
Yeah,
So
it's permanent. Thank you, Slim Jim, because they pulled a big sponsorship, and then what happened was they got that out,
mm-hmm.
and then they came back in.
Yep.
Um,
The money talks.
the money talks, but the world's a better place without it. And I was hating on Vince McMahon way before
Of course.
any
Plenty
of
of
this stuff.
receipts,
But
yeah.
if you're telling me that a billionaire was manipulating people and psychologically grooming them in order to get his way, I would not be surprised it was that man. Just saying. So with emphaticness, and I could say this, go fuck yourself, Vince McMahon, and enjoy retirement with your billions of dollars. But at least I don't have a lawsuit talking about me doo-dooing on someone's head.
All right. Well, I think that'll be the end for us, guys. Take care. Bye bye.
Take care.